Hello and welcome back to another Traps Tuesday Toots. Today we're actually going to be working on building a Gnembon Gold Farm, and we're going to be going over the different mechanics and the different things that make it work, and how to make it in your own world. We're going to be doing it in survival, not in creative. So we got that challenge for us. Alright, so we have collected some materials. One of the big things we need is a lot of magma blocks. We also need some glass. I don't know that we need a whole shulker, but we need some glass. We need some packed ice. We need some grindstones. We need some shroom lights, some cobwebs. We need turtle eggs. We need some chests and some hoppers. So I got the iron to make the chest into hoppers. And we need some glazed terracotta. And that's the majority of it. All right, so now our goal is to place a block right at the height of 172. So we'll just place it right here. I use scaffolding to get up, but you could do that however you want. And then you just kind of need to figure out what way you want your gold farm to be situated. So when picking where to build your gold farm, what you want to find is you want to find a place in the nether waste that has a lot of space down below it that isn't spawnable. This place has a little bit, so if we actually want to make this the most efficient gold farm, we are going to have to go ahead and put redstone buttons or something on top of all of these blocks in here. But once you get down here, you're going to be further from the kill chamber and you'll be fine. So there is some area here. This may not be the most ideal place for a gold farm, but it isn't bad. But what you need is you do need the nether waste to be where the gold farm itself is built, and you need it to be as free of spawnable areas down here as possible. And then you can do some mob proofing later as necessary. So right here at 172, we're going to go ahead and place our block. So now from this spot, you're going to want to go out to with the temporary blocks, and then we're just going to place that there and that there. Then we'll break these two blocks. And we just need to get a block right there. We're going to use a shroom light and make sure that the redstone doesn't have any glitches because there's enough light there, and it also makes it less spawnable. And we'll just place a repeater right here. We're going to set that to max ticks, and then we're going to stick a glazed terracotta on the backside leading into it. Right, so then we're just going to stack up glazed terracotta blocks, three blocks here. Break the ones that aren't supposed to be there. And then these are all going to get redstone dust on them. All right, now we'll come down to our original block. All right, so having stuck an extra block on the back there, we're going to go ahead and stick a sticky piston there and a honey block there. We'll go ahead and break that. Then we're just going to stick a note block on top of that piston there. All right, now we're going to get up top here, and on top of this, we're going to stick a piece of glass, followed by a shroom light with a torch on it. All right, now on this, you're going to want to go ahead and place a block here, and then come out another block, place blocks right along here, and then place a block here. Now this is going to be a temporary block we're going to get rid of, and then we're going to place a block here. So we can just get rid of that right now. And then we come over, and then let's go ahead and stick a shroom light here. And then we need a block here. All right. Now on these, we're going to go ahead and first we're going to stick 2 repeaters on full tick here. And then this is all going to be redstone right here. And then over here, this is going to be redstone and redstone. And then we're going to have a comparator facing in this direction and one facing in this direction. This is going to work as a little bit of a clock here to get this all activated and going. On this side here, we're actually going to stick a redstone torch. As we can see, that's already starting to tick away. Now on this side, what we need to do is we actually need to go down a block. So we're going to just use some temporary blocks here real quick. And then this is going to be our first actual block, so we can just break all of these. And then we need to go up a block and over, and we can just break this guy here. This is going to get a redstone torch right on this edge. A piece of redstone dust right here. A repeater on full tick there, and a repeater on full tick there. Now, basically what we got going on here is this and that side are going to match, and they're going to fire together. All right, now we need to build our actual pushers. So we can go ahead and place a block right here. We can place a block here, and then a block here. We can go out another 2 blocks here. So this is totally of 3 from that one. And then we'll go to the other side, and we'll do the same thing. So here, we're going to go here. But this is actually up a block, so now we got to do it from underneath. So place 1 there, and then come over 3. And then on both of them, we want to come down 1, over 1, down 1, and over 1. All right, so the next thing is going to be, we're going to stick a sticky piston on the edge there. We're going to stick a sticky piston on the edge there. And we're going to stick honey blocks like that. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, except I'm noticing I don't have enough honey blocks. All right, so now that we're back with our honey, we put that in there, and then we just top all of this with shroom lights all the way down here. And currently I am on a server which is causing the pistons not to fire, but if you were building this, all of these would be firing now that they are getting redstone. Signal. All right, so in theory, we should now see, now that I have claimed it, we should now see all of this activating properly. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn off this clock so that it's easier to build. And to do that, I'm going to just take a redstone torch, and when it's not moving, I'm going to stick it right there, which is going to keep this powered instead of cycling. And that's going to just make it all not move while we're working here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come out 2 blocks and up 1. And then here we're going to go ahead and stick 2 rows of the terracotta just within this section here. So it's going to be 7 blocks wide, so we can actually get rid of that first block on this side. And we can get rid of these 2 temporary blocks we placed. Which that was gold because of the claim system on the server, but just ignore that. And we can also get rid of that one, actually. And then we just come along here, and we do the second row right here. Alrighty, and then we're going to go ahead, and we're going to place a temporary block right there, and then a row of blackstone right here. A temporary block right there, and a row of blackstone right here. Now we can get rid of the 2 temporary blocks, and we will jump up here. We're going to take a redstone comparator. We're going to place that facing in from this direction. Again, that's the side that has the stacked pusher system. And then that's going to read, we're going to put droppers right here, and that's going to read how full these droppers are. So as soon as they get an item in them, it's going to power this, which is then going to run into these repeaters, which we're going to stick on full ticks. And that's going to do 2 things. That's going to activate our clock, because this actually isn't going to run except for when there's items in the system. So it's not going to be a continuously running clock on your server. It's just going to run when it needs to. So that's useful. And then we're going to go ahead and take pistons and place them along this edge here. Then we will place temporary or observer there so that we can then place it against that. We'll break it so that we can then place them all from this side. And you can do that by crouching and just looking at it by standing on this. Whoops. And then real quick, we're going to go ahead and place these droppers in so that we can then stand on the droppers. So we can place the droppers here. Just be careful not to fall off here. And then we'll stick cobwebs under these droppers. Now what that's going to do is droppers will put out an item every time they fire out in a different direction. And that's not a good thing for the sorting system, because basically what this sorting system needs is it needs all of the items to drop directly onto the block below the dropper. And with the dropper just firing at random, it could shoot them out over in the sides, over there, it could get stuck on these things. But we want it to land right here. So what happens is if it shoots it into a cobweb, that will then make it fall straight down from the center of the dropper, because it will hit the cobweb immediately, and instead of flying off to the side, it'll just start its slow descent through the cobweb. So that's what the cobwebs are for. It's just an alignment system for random items. Okay. So then now we can come back up here and we can crouch on the edge of these droppers that we placed, and we can put the other observer in right here. So now we're going to go ahead and place a hopper facing into the droppers here. And then we're going to put a hopper facing into the droppers here. And then we're going to place a hopper facing straight down into these hoppers. So the next step is going to be, we're going to place glass over each of these blocks here. Now, this is a little bit tricky. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to cheat the system. Basically, hoppers have a maximum number of items they can travel at a particular time, and we are going to be making more items per hopper or per single section than can be handled by a single hopper. So in order to cheat the system, we're going to use hopper minecarts that can pick up much larger numbers of items at once. And then we're going to use that to redistribute those items amongst multiple hoppers. Now, in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to place hopper minecarts on these blocks in very specific places. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is make some hopper minecarts. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and place a rail down. We'll do that. Then we'll just come off to the side and we will focus on the rail. We'll break the rail. And then we're just going to push this hopper into these, into these grindstones just like that. Now, as you can see, the hopper minecart isn't just over this hopper. It's over that hopper and that hopper and that hopper. So this hopper minecart will place items into all 4 of those hoppers, which is going to make it so that we're taking 4 items out at a time instead of 1. So we're going to do the exact same thing over here. Oop. That'll work. And then we'll do the same thing here, but without the grindstones. So we'll stick the rail right there, stick one of these in there, we'll stick another one of these on that same track. We will then break the track, and then we're just going to hop in here, which should separate them into those 2 corners. And that is perfect there. Now, our next step requires some temporary blocks. So now we're going to want to put fences or glass panes there and there. And then we'll put one there and there. All right, so we got this temporary blocks here. Let's go ahead and place 3 temporary blocks right here. And we're going to place hoppers facing down into those. And then we're going to break these. And we are then going to place those right there. And we will then put a hopper minecart there. And we'll push this over into this corner as best we can. And we'll do the same thing over here. And that should do. Basically, this hopper minecart is going to feed that hopper minecart and that hopper minecart. This hopper minecart is going to feed those two. And it's going to take everything out of this hopper right here. And then we're going to stick another one right in the center to split those two. So those are all where we need them. We can break all of these temporary blocks. And then we come back up to the top here. And here we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick a hopper facing into that hopper, a hopper facing into that hopper. We're going to stick 3 hoppers facing in from this side. We're going to do 2 coming back out this way. And then we're just going to stick hoppers facing in this way. Like that. So basically, it really doesn't matter too much, but basically what I've done is I've gone into this, into this, into this, into this, into this, into this, and these just face in, these face in, and this one faces into that. So they're all basically just pointing to these 3 hoppers. That's the big thing. Everything needs to face to these 3 hoppers. The outer ones aren't going to get as many drops, but every now and again they will get something that splashes out from the kill chamber. But really these 3 right here, that's where our guys are going to be being ended, as it were. Right, so now that we've placed all that, we're going to place a temporary block right there. We'll stick 2 sticky pistons there and 1 here. And then we're going to go ahead and take an observer and have that face in this direction here. And then we're going to go ahead and stick 4 bits of honey across there. So these honey blocks, what they're going to do is they're going to make it change from being an automatic kill chamber to a manual kill. And it will do that when we press this button. As you can see, it pushed them out, and if I do it again, it'll pull them back. All right, now you could either use inner chests or regular chests, but we just want chests across here. And then we're just going to want to take a block and we're going to place that on the backside of these 3 central honey blocks. And then to make sure no spawning happens on them, we'll cover them with glass panes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and place glazed terracotta right here. And then we're going to come up and over here and here. And then we'll get rid of these 3 temporary ones. So we'll stick some temporary blocks right here and place grindstones here and here. And then get rid of the temporary blocks. And then this is going to be our first row of stacking up. So now right in front of these chests, this is actually going to be where we're going to stand, is on this block right here. And then we need to, once we have built up the drop chamber, we can get rid of these blocks right here. And what we're going to need to do, in the original design, Gnembon had trapdoors here and here. However, now that the zombie piglins have spears, they can actually hit you from that far away. So we need to place these in like that, but then we need to get rid of these top ones. And then we need to replace those with slabs. So now they can't see us. Every now and again you will get, and so you do need to be aware of this, every now and again you're going to be attacked by a baby zombie with a spear. As long as you're swinging, you should be okay, because they only do so much damage. But you will want to be eating, or you'll want to have a beacon that heals you, because otherwise you will take damage. All right, so now we can go back and hit this first block that we placed in. This is where all of the items are going to actually come into the system. Now, in order to make that work, we do need to place a chest there. It could be a chest or a ender chest. Doesn't really matter. But basically, it just needs to be a chest and not a full block, because this honey block is actually only going to push the items out to the edge of where this chest is, but not all the way onto this block. And that's actually very important for the next part of this. And then we're going to go ahead and place some blocks here. So you can go out a full 24 blocks, but you don't actually have to, because you can always put the disposal system closer if you don't want to go out that far. We're going to go ahead and turn the nuggets into ingots automatically. So how far you go out, that's kind of up to you. But then what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to build a sorting system. So what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drop down onto this scaffolding here. I'm going to build out a little bit. Nope. What we'll do is we'll get a shroom light. Right. So essentially what we want to do is build a standard sorting system. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place these blocks in this configuration. Just one block over. So basically there's going to be a hopper there. So we can stick a comparator here. I usually like to stick my hoppers facing into the comparator, because you can't stick an item in a comparator, so that guarantees that it will never, no matter what other changes you make, be able to put a item into it. But you could place it facing into that as well. That would be fine. Some people do that. It really doesn't matter, but you just want to make sure that it's not facing down, it's not facing into the other hoppers, it's not any of that kind of stuff, because this is going to be our filter. And so if it can actually push items into something else, that's a bad thing. So that'll go ahead and do that. And then in this, what we got to do is we got to come in here and we got to put a redstone repeater right there on a normal 1 tick. And then we stick blocks right there and there. These get redstone dust here. And then right here, we stick a redstone torch. And so what that's going to do is that's going to lock this next hopper. So that is a sorting system right there. Now, we need a bunch of these. One of these isn't going to do. We need a whole bunch. So what we need to do is just extend this out in that direction as far as we want to go. Now, you don't absolutely have to build this out of shroomlights. I like to build it out of shroomlights because it guarantees that you're not going to have any lag issues from redstone light updates. And it also guarantees that there's not going to be any spawning on these blocks. So I like to do it that way, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I do recommend making sure there is light here somehow, whether that's via torches on another block that you place, making sure that that block is also not spawnable, or whatever. Or you could also use like glowstone right here. Just make sure that this block is not glowstone and that this block and this block are not glowstone. Because if any of those blocks are glowstone, the block itself needs to actually be activated by power, and glowstone, like glass, cannot be powered. But this center one would be a good one to make glowstone, and that would produce enough light that there wouldn't be any light updates from the redstone being powered. All right, so now we want to come down here and we want to stick some auto crafters facing down like this in order to take the nuggets and turn them into something different. I'm going to go ahead and do the first 6 here. I'm not going to actually have a sorting system on this first one because it usually doesn't pick anything up anyway because it's so close. So then starting with the second one, I am going to go out 6. And then to be honest, I'm probably going to get rid of a lot of the rest of these sorting chunks and just not have hoppers there at all. Because it doesn't actually do anything for me. Because this is going to deal with all of our gold already. And this actually could, it'll just start spitting out gold nuggets if the storage gets full. So we have to expand the storage regardless. So what happens down here doesn't really matter. So really what I think I might do is bring our storage out this way for gold, do a few chunks of these that are going to be zombie flesh, a couple of them that'll pick up the other things, the swords, the spears, those kind of things. And then I'm probably just going to dump everything, even like cut this short and put the lava like right in here, because that's really all we need. But we'll keep working on this and see what I end up actually doing. But basically what we're going to do here, we're going to take and place temporary block here. So we'll go out 4 blocks total here. So we'll stick a temporary block there. We'll go out here. So then we stick comparators coming out of each of these. Fill this in with redstone dust. And then we'll stick glowstone on top of this redstone dust here. And we will continue the redstone dust on all of this and on all of the redstone. Now the glowstone both causes the light updates from the redstone dust not to be a problem, but it also actually allows the redstone to connect. You can actually see, even though that's not up there, this is still connected that way because it's connected to the redstone dust below, because this is a transparent block and it can go up. It can't go down, but it can go up on Java. So then we're going to go ahead and just build this across like so. All right. So then down here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to stick hoppers facing into these and hoppers facing into these. So as the sorters pull out items, it'll go into these, and then that'll fill up the auto crafter, which will then spit out items. So we can actually demonstrate that. I'll stick some redstone dust right in there, and we'll see it's actually putting out redstone blocks. And it's doing that because each time it fills up one of its spots, it makes it a little bit stronger. Once it hits 9 signal strengths, it actually lights the one above it, which we can't actually see. But if I do that, it will do it. And that means that it will craft whatever's in it, because now it's powered. Obviously, when it didn't just craft then, because this isn't a crafting recipe, so it would try, but it can't, because it's not a thing. But that is that. All right, so next we're going to put barrels under these, because we can't put hoppers. If you put a hopper directly under auto crafter, it's going to suck out the items it's trying to craft before it crafts them. So that's not ideal. So we put barrels here, and then we put hoppers under the barrels to pull them out and put them into chests. So the next thing to do is going to be to put a barrel under each one of these. That's going to allow the crafter to put an item into the barrel. And then we're going to go into sorting or storage mode, where we're going to stick chests and hoppers. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to stick a chest configuration in this basic order here. And what we're going to do is we're going to stick hoppers going in like this. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring all the items down to this chest first. And that's going to pull it all out of here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a hopper line running along the top here. It's going to pull the items out of these barrels and go across these chests. Now what's going to happen is if the hopper directly below the barrel is facing that way, but then there's a hopper underneath it, that hopper is going to take the item first before it pushes it along. But if that hopper is full, it's going to then push the items along. So as this fills up and each of these gets a full set of double chests that are full of the iron or the golden ingots, you're gonna go ahead and then have the ability to fill up the next row all the way down. And so we're gonna go down to here is what I'm thinking right now. And that means we're actually gonna get rid of this chunk of sorting. And then the rest of it is gonna be sorting for zombie flesh. I do like to keep a certain amount of zombie flesh because you can trade it with clerics. It's a great source of emeralds. And then I also am going to have a couple unsorted ones that will fill up with some of the random loot. So you'll get some gold swords, some gold spears, etc. If you end up having too many of those things, then you're not going to end up, then they're going to get dumped anyway. But I'll get a few double chests of those random items just because sometimes you want to grab some of those for some armor stands or to give to some mobs or whatever. And it's just nice to have those available. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill all this in with this combination of chests, and then we'll all get back to you. All right, so now in the end here, we're going to face this hopper into this hopper. And then we're just going to face a line of hoppers running across the top, like I said. And that's just going to allow the items to move over if and when the hoppers below them get full. All right. And now the next thing, it is still good. Any of these hoppers that don't have something on top of them, you can place a composter on top of it. That will help make sure that it doesn't create extra lag, because otherwise you're going to get a little bit of extra lag. We do have the problem of, when you're working on this, do make sure that everything isn't spawnable, whether it has enough light or whether it's a slab, because otherwise you might run into problems like this guy right here. This was temporary enough. I thought it would be fine, but clearly that was not the case. All right, so Put comparators on top of any hoppers that are exposed that can have hoppers. Obviously, we can't do it to the top row up there because the entire idea is that the items flow across that ice and get sucked up by those hoppers. So if there was an item there, it'd be in the way. But here, we're good. And so you want to put composters on top of these guys. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually tear out all of this sorting system for the ones that we're not actually going to be using. So we can get rid of all of this all the way down to right here. And we'll even get rid of the hoppers. All right, now with any sorting system, you're going to want to go ahead and have some sort of a block that absolutely cannot get sorted. So what I usually do is I take some sticks or something cheap that I have a lot of, and I go ahead and rename it. You can rename it whatever you want. I usually just call them something simple like sort. I'm going to do 2 stacks just in case we need them. Then we'll come up to this first side, and what we're going to do is we're just going to stick 1 stick in each of those, and then we're going to stick whatever item we want sorted here. I don't have any gold on me, but with us, this one would actually be a gold ingot, and then the rest of these would all be gold nuggets. Stick that. So we'll actually stick a nugget in there, an ingot in there, and then a nugget into each of these. All right, so this first one has a gold ingot and then 4 sticks called sort. Now, some people will go ahead and do this trick that they think is better, where you actually fill this up with several more items to make it so that this only needs like 1 extra item, so you only have 1 sorting item. But the problem with that is it's not super likely, but it is definitely possible because nuggets do come into this very quickly. If you ever were to get more nuggets so that there's more than a certain number here, it would actually fill over and start powering the next line over. And then this will start having items suck out of it without having items to suck out of it, which means that you would then start breaking the sorting system entirely. As soon as this last nugget gets pulled out, the entire system is going to be broken. So if you do that, you will only need 1 nugget to make it so that it'll sort, and then you won't have to keep extra items in there. But you have a chance of having the entire system get completely broken and unsorted, which you don't want. So you always want to keep your sorting item here and then just 1 stick or something here. Because if you, like I say, if you do that, your entire sorting system could be rendered useless. So now over here, I've built this sorting system up to match the other side because this side doesn't have auto crafters involved though. We can actually go ahead and just add a couple more layers of chests here. All right, so like I described earlier, this one is just going to literally have the hoppers go straight down, no sorting at all, and that's going to gather up all your extra, your swords, your spears, and then if there is overflow of zombie flesh, it'll gather that up too, but that would require everything to get full. However, let's build in an overflow system as well. Let's do that. So we're going to actually, over here, eventually we're going to have a Eventually we'll have a bit of lava over here, and we'll have a dropper that'll shoot all the items into the hopper automatically, into the lava automatically. And what we'll do is we'll just have hoppers So what we've gone ahead and done is for these top ones that have the zombie flesh coming in, instead of having the hoppers face down into the chest sorting, we're actually going to make this little hopper chain that comes around the edge here. And we're going to have these face into those. So that'll suck out the zombie flesh before this pushes it that way when it can. But once this hopper is completely full, the zombie flesh will still go into this hopper line. And then we're going to use that to put it into an automatic disposal system so we don't have extra sitting around doing nothing. And then we'll just go ahead and again, we'll stick our lag reducing composters on top of these guys. Like so. All right, so now let's go ahead and build this system right here. First things first, we can actually put in our dropper right here. I'll go right there, and then we're just going to need a block below it. So we'll stick it right there and there. And then I'm going to stick a temporary block right there, and we'll stick blocks right around this like this. We can break these two. So that's going to hold our lava right there. And then we can stick blocks on top of these. And then we just need to build a little circuit right here. All right. Now, because there's a little bit of a tight space here, what we've had to do is we placed our dropper facing into the lava, and then we have a comparator coming out of that in subtract mode. So then that repeater faces into this block, which then powers this redstone dust right here, powering this repeater, which then powers this, subtracting it. So anytime there is items in here, even if it completely fills up, it will still keep cycling properly. Then we also have the redstone dust coming up over top, powering this block, which then actually powers the dropper and makes it spit items out. And then once we get lava in here, that will dispose of everything. Otherwise, it'll just contain it all right here. But that's going to do it for us there. Now, in theory, where we took out these hoppers, it should just flow across the ice anyway, but just because I like peace of mind, I'm going to just stick ice across here as well, just to make sure they don't fall down and cause us problems. And then we're also going to go ahead and we're going to stick some light blocks along the back here. And that's going to also include on top of here, just to make sure that we don't have anything spawning on this packed ice. And then we'll stick it on top of the redstone here as well. Like so. And then we're going to come over here. And any of these blocks that don't have redstone on them, we're going to stick a half slab on top of. Just to make sure we don't have anything spawning on those either, because now they're just completely spawn proof. We want everything to be as spawn proof as possible to make sure A, gas don't spawn into this farm, because we don't want any gas to blow anything up, but we also B, don't want it to reduce our numbers. Anything that spawns in here doesn't spawn in on our spawning platforms, and that's not ideal. So now I think we're ready to go ahead and build our spawning platform. So let's get into that. All right, so now we're going to come back up top here, and we're just going to keep continuing this system here all the way up to level 209, and then basically to 211. All right, so now we're standing at 209. Now we're gonna keep going up 2 more levels, but first we are gonna put that right there. Oops. Because that is gonna be our first turtle egg spot. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and place our turtle egg there. And then we can stick this here and this here. Make sure you don't step on the turtle egg, because that will break it. Now you may want to put your turtle eggs in after you're done building everything else, because if you put them in and then zombies start spawning in before you actually get everything in place, they could come in and break them. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that all of your turtle eggs are in place and not broken, and there's no zombies where they shouldn't be once you're done. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in because I just think it's a little bit easier to put it in now. All right, now actually on this level, we did go up one too high. So on level 211, you only want to go up on the grindstone side and the opposite of the grindstone side. And then we're going to go ahead and stick in some magma blocks. Now you're going to want to either have some kind of boots that make it so that it's easier to do this, or you're going to want to have crouch the entire time. I usually just crouch the entire time. Or you could use fire resist potions. Any of those will work. I just like to crouch. It makes it easy. So from this side, we're going to go out from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks. And on the 8th block, we're just going to go out on both sides. And then we'll just extend that all the way down. On this side, we're going to go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. And we're going to go out 1, come back out again, and then over 3. And then on this side, same thing here. And then we're going to go over, and then 2 across, over, and then 2 across. And then we're going to go 2 across here, over, and 2 across here. And we should meet up right with this. So it basically goes 3 on this end, 2, 2, and then turn, and it's 2, 2, 3, and then in 1. And then we just repeat that again on the other side. And then we just fill the whole thing in. Now, if you have to go away and get resources or anything like that, you are going to find very quickly that this is going to fill up with zombie pigmen, and they will make it into those turtle eggs. So that's why you're going to want to be careful when it comes to that. If you're not careful, you will have issues with the turtle eggs getting destroyed. Because you're on the platform, you're close enough that nothing should spawn on the platform because you're that close. But if you move out, it is going to be an issue. Whoops. All right. And now we'll go up. Now, some of you might be wondering, why do we have these grindstones here? Now we have these grindstones here because when the zombie pigmen try to get to the turtle eggs, they're going to crowd right here. Now, if there's 2 trying to get into a 1 wide gap, they get crowded and they bump into each other and they just don't work very well. And they'll crowd in and they'll just fight each other for a long time and get stuck. So because there's just a little bit wider of a gap, 2 of them can kind of fall in the same time, and then they fall, and it makes everything go a lot smoother. It makes the drop rate a lot faster. The sooner they get out of the farm and the spawning area, and the sooner they get down to the bottom and die, the faster you get more mobs. So it's just a mob efficiency thing. It's going to make it go a lot faster because they're not crowding here, just fighting each other, trying to get down the hole. All right, so now we go up one more level. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and on this layer, which is there's a 2 air gap, and then we're putting this layer in. We're going to do the exact same thing, and we're going to make it the exact same size as the layer below it. All right, so that is that in place. Now, down here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, and so on the 6th block, this is where our next turtle egg is going to go, right here. So we're going to put that in, and then we're going to go up. That's 2 block gap. And then this will be our 3rd block. And so now we just do that once again, every 6 blocks, with a five blocks in between. Then the 6th block is the glass block. You're going to stick a turtle egg. So that's going to be the consistent pattern there. And you're just going to keep building up, and we're going to just keep going for quite a while now. We do need to get all the way to layer 253. We're currently at 217, having built 2 layers and standing on where the 3rd layer goes. So let's get going. All right, so now we've gotten to a point where we are at 253. As you can see, if you've done it right, spaced them out properly, 2 down from the top here should in fact be a turtle egg. And then we'll just go up 2 levels here. Also, if you've done it right, you should start seeing down there some zombie pigmen falling into the system. That's why we built the sorting system first, so that we're actually dealing with the fact that we're already producing gold while we're finishing up the farm. So now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to stick another layer on top like this. And just for funsies, I'm going to throw in well, so I'm just going to stick another layer on top here. And I do have a piece of glass right here in the center just to make sure nothing's there as well. I don't think I need these, so I'm not going to worry about making another one. We're going to build in all the glass that's going to make it so the gas can't spawn up here, which is going to be a key feature of this. So to do that, we're going to place temporary blocks. Oh. And we're just going to come out 2 blocks here and then put a piece of glass, and then 1 block there and a piece of glass. And then we're going to come out 2 blocks from that. And we're going to put a piece of glass. And then from this, we're going to go out 2 blocks here and place a block there, and 2 blocks here and place a block there. So from this side, we're going to come straight out from the center and out 2 blocks, put a piece of glass, and then come out 2 piece of glass, 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 and then come out 2 and piece of glass. So this is basically just going to be 6 glass, all spaced out 2 from the edge here. And that is how that works. So then this side is going to be 2 out, and then 1 over here. And then we're going to come out just straight in the center. 2 out here and 2 out here, just like the other side. We can start getting rid of some of our temporary blocks. We just have the 6 more on that side to do. So again, on this side, come out 2 glass. 2 more glass. No, it's in the right. To this side, to this side, to this side, and this side. And that is those 6 in place. Now, our next step is going to require us to just stick a temporary block there and then a glass block here. And then now we're just going to go out 8 glass blocks. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're just going to go around and basically outline this center section here all the way around, leaving 1 block gap in between everywhere. And we can't really dip in here because we touch in those corners, so we just keep going straight. It's okay that that's there because we got to fill in a big gap anyway. Now that we got back to the center, we're good here. So from this end, we're going to go out 4 more on each side. So this is a total of 9 long. So we'll go ahead and go over 2, 2, 2, and then we're just going to do 1, 1. And then we're going to go 2, 2, and 2. And then this is just going to come across the center here. And if we've done this right, this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We didn't do this right. Oh, because we only did 2 2s. You had to do 3 2s. Yeah. So just like that side, it's 3 sets of 2. So 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and then the long run. So then we go out from here. This is center. So from here we go out another 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we just do the same pattern. So we go over 2 once, twice, and a 3rd time. And then we do 1, 2, 3. And then we do go over 2, go over 2, and go over 2. And then here again, we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 should be right in center, and it is. So we've done that right. And then it should be 8 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that block makes 8. So we've done that correct as well. So now we go out another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, over 2, over 2, and over 2 a 3rd time. Then 1, 2, 3 in that diagonal, and then this goes out 2, and 2, and 2. And then here we should just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this should be 7, which should be right in the center, which it is, and this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that block makes 8. So now we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Then make this a 2, and 2, and 2, And we've connected. So that's all we got to do there, and then we just fill it all in. So this all needs to be glass all throughout here. If there's anybody out there who plays Minecraft and doesn't know what the pick block button is, I highly recommend figuring out the pick block button. Basically, generally it's default set to be your middle mouse button. But basically what it does is if you have the item in your inventory that you're looking at, but it's not currently on your hotbar, or if it's on a different place on your hotbar that isn't currently selected, it will automatically switch that item into your hand, which is super helpful. As I get to the end of these blocks, instead of opening up my inventory and finding the item and moving it into where I need it, I just look at a piece of glass that I just placed, and I use the pick block button, and it makes it so that it pops right into my inventory. So as you can see, as I finish up right there, I just click pick block and I just keep placing. So it's a super, super handy tool. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend using it. Like I say, it's the middle mouse button by default. I actually have it. I have a side mouse button that I can just tap with my thumb. I find it to be a lot easier there. So that's where I have mine mapped to, but you can remap it in settings, but I highly recommend using it. Whether you use the middle mouse button or you put it somewhere else, it's just going to really speed up your build time and make it a lot easier to do what you're doing. Also, if you're in creative, it will just give you a full stack of whatever it is you're looking at, whether or not you have it in your inventory. But if you're in survival, it'll just pop it right into your hand. Now, what I recommend doing is going to the long side of the farm and getting to the edge, and then placing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks. This is going to be the best place to stand to have piglins spawn in on all the platforms, including this top one. So then I usually just add a little bit of a protective little case for myself right here. So that I can just stand right in here. Nothing can spawn because it's all built out of glass. Oops. But if something somebody does something weird, some gas spawns in and tries to kill things, you're kind of a little bit protected in here. I might even put a door on it so you're like completely protected. And that's where you are going to stand to be AFK. Now there's one more thing we got to do to this farm to get it to be running at full functionality. All right, so this next part, I don't fully understand the reason behind it. I just know that Gnembon, who is a genius, says that it helps. So what you do is you just go along the edge and you make sure there's a piece of string in every single one of the air gaps here at the top level. You don't need to do this at any other level, just right here. Don't forget that little inlet right there. We just go around the edge and place string. I don't fully understand what this does, but he did seem to think that it was an optimization thing that makes it better. I don't even know if it still applies. It might be something that helped in a previous version of Minecraft, because the farm is definitely old. There's definitely been some changes needed over time to make it so that it even functions. But I still do this. It doesn't hurt, and it may help. Right, so now the only thing left to do on this farm is actually put in a floor and figure out if we want to have more accessible items, because we're only going to be able to access the bottom row of chests easily, because everything else is going to be behind a hopper, and then you could access, I guess, the third row of chests, but that's usually not how you want to do things. So what I recommend doing is actually going down a couple extra layers, but you can do this however you want to do this. And building a floor at slab level. So now I'm going to build some temporary blocks around the backside. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're just going to come in here, and we're going to stick chests along here. And then we'll go to the back side and make them all double chests. And then we'll just stick hoppers into each of them. Then we can get rid of our temporary blocks, although we don't actually have to because they're slabs, so it really doesn't hurt to have them. But I like it to look clean and perfect, so we're going to get rid of them. And then for now, I'm just going to fly up to here, so I'm not worried about how to get here. Obviously, you could build a staircase, or you could build a portal, or whatever you want to do. Just make sure whatever you build does have either it's built at slab height, or it has redstone components on top, or it has glass, or something that's going to make it so that you won't be having problems that way. And then there was that layer I talked about was going to be the kill height. So this right here is going to be our kill height layer. Now you could go ahead and do other things here. Actually, on one of my servers, I come in here and I have an entire enchanting station here. I can use this as XP, whatever. They recommend that you actually put a piece of cactus right here and trapdoors on the sides. I don't know that that's all necessary. Right now, I'm not even going to do that, but you can do that. But what you can do is you can put this into manual kill mode. So then you could go ahead and you could just kill them here and you get XP for it. And then you're going to get the looting benefit as well. So that's useful. Or you can put it in auto kill. Now the one problem is, as you can see, we have really slow rates. There's two possible problems. Number one, your server does need to be strong enough to handle it. This server actually seems to be lagging a little bit. But more importantly, one of the other problems, and I think that's what we're running into right now, because it doesn't seem like it's lagging right now. The other problem is down here, all those places I talked about, you might have to fill up. All of these guys down here are not people that can spawn up there. They're currently loaded in, and as you can see, he just despawned right there. So kind of at that edge where they might despawn, they might spawn in, but anybody that's loaded in down here is taking away from your numbers up top. So you're going to want to do something to mob-proof this if you're going to try to do the manual kill thing. The manual kill thing does get you looting, so it is beneficial. But it's anything within the spawn range of where you're standing. So you are right here. So you're at 187. So anything directly below you above 59, and then anything inside of a sphere around that will be spawnable. So right here, that isn't spawnable, so that's great. But then the sphere goes out in all directions. Basically, it's 128 blocks from where you are in a spherical shape. And so that's clearly, that includes this right here, because they're spawning in right here. And that sphere is going to come up and around and over to the side. So whatever 128 blocks is from where we're standing, in every direction in a sphere. That said, if you are going to AFK the farm, and just let it do its own thing, auto killing. If you're up here, nothing down below is within range anyway, because this is 253, so 128 minus less than 253 is 125. So if we go down, this is 125. So when we're up there, standing right there, there's nothing else spawning. It is only the farm that is working. All right, so using FreeCam to look at the farm a little bit, what we see here is these, every time that those droppers get items in them from this complex hopper system right here, you actually have these all triggering, and each one of these that triggers extends the length of this clock until it stops triggering. And so this keeps going. As long as this still has signal, this is going to have signal, which is going to then allow this clock to operate. But whenever that runs out of signal, this is going to retract and then make this be a full signal strength, and it's not going to work as a clock. So these aren't going to tick, and they're not going to keep moving and stepping. So that's how this farm turns on and off, is whenever there's not mobs in the farm and there's not drops coming in and being dispensed, there's no need for this all to run, which is going to save your server some lag issues. And then we can watch these auto crafters. This is the signal strength of each of the auto crafters slowly ticking up as they fill up with items to a maximum of 9. And then once it hits that 9, obviously the auto crafter actually activates and it creates the item. So you can actually see them ticking right now. When they tick, you'll see the crafter light up, then the comparator actually turns off for a split second because there's nothing in the auto crafter after it dispenses the item that it crafted. And then it quickly fills back up with the next item. So those are turning back on. And then those items are again going into these barrels, which then goes into this hopper line. And currently we'll just fill up directly underneath it. And then this whole row will get filled up. And these bottom chests will start filling from the bottom. And then the next one, and then the next one. Now, with these bottom chests, if you take out of the bottom one, the second one isn't going to flow into the bottom one. But this chest will flow into the bottom one, and all the way, the rest of the way through the sorting system, it'll flow all the way down to the bottom chest. So after doing some testing, what we found was that our server actually isn't lagging, but rather has a server optimization setting that doesn't load entities fully after a certain distance that is not the standard Minecraft vanilla distance. And so anything this far out just isn't actually being loaded properly by the server. And so it'll spawn there and they'll move, but they'll move incredibly slowly for some reason. And so what we found was we needed to actually move our AFK spot over to here, which is just 5 blocks from the platform. And that made it so that they operate properly. It does limit the spawns because there's a little bit of a circle here in the top where you're actually too close to this area and you won't get mobs to spawn. But for this server, that was the right option. I don't recommend making that change unless it seems like your server has a similar problem. So if mobs are spawning all the way over here on this side of the platform and everything is fine, then go ahead and run it with the original AFK location and don't make that alteration. But if they're moving super slow over here, then go ahead and just move your AFK spot a little bit closer so that it functions. That said, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Traps Tuesday Toots, a special episode where we built Gnembon's Gold Farm. Now, this is not my design. Once again, this is a Gnembon design. He gets all credit for the design itself. I made a couple little tweaks just to get it to work with the new spears and that kind of thing, but this is all Gnembon, and I thank him for making such an amazing farm. This is the 4th time I've built this farm because I believe in it that much. It just really works for me, and I get the best rates out of this. So thank you. And thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves, stay happy, stay healthy, and don't get trapped without me. Bye-bye.